Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. And if you are new here, welcome. My name is Stephanie. I am known to many as your fave trauma coach, right? And I absolutely love and have been called to empower men and women to heal from childhood trauma. And today I really want to talk about something that don't get talked about enough. And this is for my parents. And I want to talk about why parents get triggered by their children. It's not what you think. Sometimes parents tend to blame their child, right? Unknowingly. And it's not your kid's fault why they trigger you, why they get on your nerve, why they irk your spirit, why they make you want to crash out. Let's be honest, right? I'm a mother. So if you wonder, you're like, okay, are you a mama? Do you know what you're talking about? I am a mother of three, right? And I would love to, be honest and open with you about this journey of healing while parenting. And if you are healing from your own childhood trauma wounds while trying to parent at the same time, it ain't easy, baby. It ain't easy. But let's talk about why parents get triggered and how that can look, if I may will, even explain some examples in real life things that have happened to me and how my kids have triggered me, right? And this is what I want to say about triggers. Triggers is not a bad thing because it has been taught and people talk about triggers as it's a bad thing. It's very uncomfortable, let me be honest, but it's so worth being triggered, if that makes sense. Because when you are triggered, all that is your nervous system being triggered. It's like an alarm system that is set off, letting you know that there is something that needs your attention. I always explain to clients that I work with that triggers is like a notification, right, on your cell phone. So if a notification comes on your phone, it's your phone. That means that notification is for you. It may be about someone else, maybe, right? But it's for you to answer. It's for you to pay attention to that, right? That needs your attention. So that's how I kind of explain when it comes to triggers. But let's really get into it. Sometimes parents get triggered when their kids begin to become independent, right? And they feel like in the inside as a parent, because if a parent has an abandonment wound, let's just say you have an abandonment wound from your childhood, right? When your children begin to become independent and pull away, you are going to think that that's abandonment. You are going to go back into your kid mind and think like, oh, I'm getting abandoned. This reminds me or takes me back to when I was a kid. You may not think that in its totality, but your body is reacting to what it's used to and what is familiar, and your nervous system is just reacting to it, right? I have my youngest daughter, right? She's 9 years old, and I teach her things, right? Like how to straighten up a bed, how to do this, how to do that. But she's an independent as well, right? So when she begins to put those things into action that I taught her, I tend to still try to have control of that thing because I'm like, I feel like, she needs me. She still needs me to do this. And she's showing that she can do what it is that I have taught her to do. But when I feel like the independence is there, I feel abandoned, right? There has been many times where I have felt that, but I never looked at it as abandoned. I just looked at it as, oh, you're pulling away from me, or you trying to do it on your own. Let me be the mama. Let me show you how to do it, right? And another thing that our kids tend to trigger us, and I talk about this a lot on my other different platforms, when we have experienced something in our childhood that we never experienced, right? Or we never received, whether that was the affection, whether that was the validation, whether that was being seen, being heard, all of those things. If you didn't receive those as a child, when you have children and you create that safe space for your kids, FYI, when you create those safe spaces for your kids, you will get triggered. And this is why you will get triggered, because you never heal the wound that you have from your childhood. And a lot of parents, and I know a lot of parents don't want to hear this or want to be honest about this, a lot of parents manipulate their children unknowingly, some knowingly, but we're going to talk about the unknowingly part, right? Some manipulate their children. Well, let me do this, let me do that, let me give them all the things I never had so that I can feel some type of fulfillment, so that I can feel the void that I have, the hole that I have, right? And honestly speaking, that's not doing anything for you. It's not, because what it's doing is it's allowing that wound to still stay a wound, and it is being exposed, right? Which then, what does a wound turn into? A wound turns into an infection, right? So we have to pay attention to those things. And this is why I have these type of conversations when it talks about parents getting triggered by their children and parenting while healing, because for one, experience, and I see it so much, and parents unknowingly really don't understand what it is that they're doing to their children, and not only to their children, to themselves, right? Because the goal is to break the generational cycles, right? Not to continue to pass that generational trauma on and on and on, right? So this is why these type of conversations are needed. And I talk more about these tools and the strategies of how you can recognize your triggers, how you can identify what wound is attached to that particular trigger, because how it ultimately works, you have a traumatic event, right? You have a traumatic event that has happened in your life, whatever that may look like. And then from that traumatic event, you will get a wound, right? That's going to be attached to that. Attached to that wound will be trigger or triggers that's attached to that wound, knowingly and unknowingly, right? And this is what we don't know. And I always tell clients and even people that I work with, talk to, that you have to go backwards in order to go forward. And a lot of people don't want to do that. It's not going backwards to relive that exact thing that happened in your life. It's to go backwards so that you can identify what it is that's going on with you. Where is this coming from? Why are you reacting instead of responding? Why are you crashing out? Why are you so short-tempered? All of these things is going to explain why it is that you do the things that you do. And a lot of times I want to add this. A lot of people don't know what trauma is. Traumatic event is the event itself. And when you think about trauma is the imprint. Traumatic event is the event of actually what happened. And I'm sorry, y'all, my phone was on low power mode and all these different stuff, whatever. So traumatic event is the event itself, and trauma is the imprint. Traumatic event, trauma is the imprint that was left on your mind, your body, and your nervous system from the traumatic event, right? A lot of people don't explain trauma correctly because, once again, lack of knowledge, they don't know. But like I said, I talk about more. I even created a trigger translator tool to even help you, along with regulations tools, to help you identify the trigger, what it's attached to, what happened, and then give you tools and strategies to heal that particular wound.